We just got a bit of breaking news out of the House Oversight Committee in the quest to verify David Grusch's allegations that the U.S. government is in possession of multiple intact and partially intact spacecraft of non-human origin. In one of my previous videos titled The 3 Most Important Questions About the Next UFO Hearing, I brought up the importance about the current Intelligence Community Inspector General, Thomas Mannheim, who was the one that interviewed David Grusch, as well as the first-hand whistleblowers that he brought forward that allegedly work with inside the UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs within the U.S. government. And we now have confirmation as of this morning, August 22nd, that at least 6 members of the House Oversight Committee agree with that analysis, as they have now submitted a formal request to Thomas Mannheim, the current ICIG, to get access to the information on the witnesses, programs, military bases, and other participants in both the crash retrieval aspect and the reverse engineering aspect that David Grusch alleged to in his oversight hearing at the end of July. So let's dive a little bit into this letter and understand why it's so important. We can see right from the top that it was indeed sent yesterday, August 21st, and it was addressed to Thomas Mannheim. In the first paragraph, they rehash what we already know, which is that David Grusch came to testify and that he was unable to speak to many of the classified details in a public setting. And I do want to note that currently the DoD is stonewalling Congress from giving them access to a SCIF, a secure compartmented information facility, which is a room in which the members can hear and be read into classified information in a secure environment to prevent potential leaks or foreign intelligence gathering. Then in the second paragraph, we see they state, Mr. Grusch could not provide the names or titles of individuals with first-hand knowledge of or direct access to UAP crash retrieval programs. This then cues up the request of information. Considering Mr. Grusch's testimony was under oath, we request answers to the following questions. Which intelligence community members, positions, facilities, military bases, or other actors are involved with UAP crash retrieval programs directly or indirectly, and which of the same entities are involved with UAP reverse engineering programs directly or indirectly. Now, this is a point that I've double-clicked on in the past, but it is interesting to see that Congress is doing the same thing by separating out crash retrieval as a function from reverse engineering as a function, because there might not be overlap between those two, and they might have to go down separate tracks of investigation, particularly with the reverse engineering potentially being more involved with aerospace defense companies, whereas the crash retrieval portions may live more within the existing federal government structure, particularly within the executive branch. They then end the letter with 2 deadlines as follows. Please respond to these questions by September 15th, 2023. If the information requested in the questions above contains classified material, we request access to this information in a secure setting no later than September 26th, 2023. So this is great because they're not only requesting the information, but they're also requesting being given access to the facilities necessary to view the information if it's classified. So within about a month, we are going to get an answer to the question, is there a there to David Grusch's allegations? And the reason this is so important is I have a DoD key leadership chart in the background here. And if you see towards the top, there's a gray box to the right of the Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, which is the Office of the Inspector General. As you see, it is the highest ranking and has access to all of the subsequent DoD compartments within the Department of Defense. So again, if there really is something there, and Thomas Mannheim has deemed David Grusch's allegations credible and urgent, he is going to have to provide justification for giving that designation and then forwarding that information to the Director of National Intelligence as well as the Intel committees in both the House and the Senate. It is important to note that there are 6 members of the House Oversight Committee that have signed this letter to Thomas Mannheim. It includes 5 Republicans and 1 Democrat, and this letter is likely, at least in part, a response to the lack of appetite from Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, as well as Chairman of the House Oversight Committee James Gomer, to have additional UFO hearings at least in calendar year 2023. While there is currently no clear path to a future UFO hearing within the House, we do expect to see at least 1 or 2 future UFO hearings in the Senate, either by way of the Armed Services Committee or the Intelligence Committee. And with all that said, the House is certainly not giving up without a fight, as there are now calls for the creation of a new select committee specific to UAP with subpoena power to be able to operate exclusively on this issue within the House alongside the other subcommittees.